You know, the Mets made out of the R.A. Dickey trade good, but I like Dickey. I thought he was a good story. I am sad to see him go, even though in going it's going to wind up being better for the Mets' future because we got Travis d'Arnaud. And I want to see him do well.
Yeah,
I want to see him do well.
This wasn't a good trade for the Mets.
How can you say that?
How can I say that? Because you let a Cy Young winner who was reasonably priced. It's not like he was asking for the moon.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
$12.5 million is really more than fair.
And listen, I'll be honest. It's come out this week that the Mets' first offer was 2 years, $14 million, which I think is just a terrible statement on that part. This is an organization that gave Oliver Perez 3 years, $36 million. And you can't give R.A. Dickey, a bona fide Cy Young winner who won 20 games and has been arguably one of the best parts of your franchise over the last 3 years. I think it's disgraceful they couldn't give him $26 million. But listen, when you trade a player of his caliber, you have to get back pieces that can help you build for the future. And catcher is one of the hardest positions to nail down in baseball. And to have a guy who can play there presumably for the next decade, you control him for at least 6 seasons. If he comes up in May rather than starting the season, you control him till 2019. You get another starter out of it, who's basically at the same spot Zach Wheeler was at when they traded for him. And you look at the Mets' possible rotation in 2014, 2015. You have the start of something good. You can look at with the smirk, but were the Mets going to be that much better with Dickey than they're going to be without him this year? You can't tell me they were.
You're right. I can't tell you that a guy who wins 20 games would be better than a guy who's not even going to pitch for the organization.
I didn't say one guy. I said the team. You're not telling me the team is going to be so much better with Dickey as opposed to what they will be this year.
The thing is that you take those wins away from the Mets.
But you potentially add them to the future with the return that they got back.
You potentially add almost nothing, too, because what if these guys don't work out? And what if, say, in 2014, 2015, the guy's still in AAA ball? He ain't ready to come up to the majors. You can't guarantee that this guy, where you could guarantee Dickey is an MLB starter. He is a starter on any team in the league. You cannot tell me that about these prospects you got back in return. And this kid, d'Arnaud.
He's going to be up in May. No way.
He could be up. He could be up come February. It doesn't bother me because I still don't think getting a prospect back in return, even if he's going to step in and try and start, is going to be much of a return. It's not. You lose a Cy Young pitcher and get back 2 prospects.
In a year where the Mets are not competing and trying to build for the future,
the problem.
You build through pieces. Okay?
No, that's the problem, is the Mets aren't competing. And you can say, oh, well, they're going to try and compete in 2015, 2016, 2018, when all these young guys are going to be working out and everything's great and grand. You don't know that they're going to work out.
And you don't know that Dickey is going to wind up being so much better. Does Dickey make them a playoff team this year? Does Dickey make them a playoff team this year? The Mets.
Dickey gives them more wins, gives them a better opportunity.
But does he make them a playoff team that is going to compete with the Nationals, Braves, and Phillies this year? And if the answer to that is no, then you have a duty to the future of your franchise to bring in pieces
why would
that can change that statement.
Even go to the game then for the next 2 or 3 years? Why would anybody show up to the stadium if you're already conceding to the fact that, listen, we're not going to win this year, we're not going to win next year, and we're probably not going to win the year after that, but maybe in about 4 years, we're going to be set up for something that's potentially nice.
Because you're looking at the future of your franchise, guys like Matt Harvey and Zach Wheeler and Travis d'Arnaud. And truthfully, I think they're going to wind up being a 500 team, which is more than really anybody is giving them credit for.
I think they'll compete for it. Like the Nets winning 50 this year. Look, it's just not going to happen.
One way or another, the Mets with Dickey or the Mets without Dickey don't make the playoffs. It's that simple. So the bottom line is the Mets need to figure out what they need to do to get to the playoffs. And to get to the playoffs, they need to start bringing in talent. The guy won 20 games this year. 20 games.
Plenty of talent out there, by the way.
He won 25%.
There's lots of talent out
other
there.
than Mets games. And
You
it
don't
meant
need a
absolutely
prospect
nothing.
to potentially get talent. There's lots of talent out there.
Yeah, the Cody Rosses of the world, the Miguel Olivos of the world. Yes, let's see the Mets spend more money than they should on those guys.
How about
that's
AJ
what's out there.
Pierzynski to catch? How about Michael Bourne to play some outfield? Because you guys still have nobody in the outfield. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other pieces that the Mets could have gotten or could bring in, and they're not.
They're not spending the money on these guys. They don't have the money still. If they had even though I still say they could have given Dickey $6 million. I'm not even going to try to dispute that one. But you don't have the money to bring in a Michael Bourne. And seeing as how Michael Bourne is 30 and everything that can go wrong does go wrong to the Mets additions, are you really telling me that Michael Bourne coming to the Mets wouldn't injure himself in the first month of the season? We'd never hear from him again.
Are you telling me that Michael Bourne wouldn't be an upgrade to what you guys have in the outfield
until he
right
gets
now?
hurt the first month of the season?
Come
Yes.
on now, stop it. Stop it.
And AJ Pierzynski,
Worrying
honestly,
about guys you didn't even sign getting hurt before you even get them there.
That's right. And as far as AJ Pierzynski, if you guys want to give AJ Pierzynski 2 years at 35 years old and hoping he can still have the miracle year he had this year, go ahead.
He doesn't have to have a miracle year. If he comes in, hits 250, 20 home runs, and gives us 70 to 80 ribbies, I consider that a win. I consider that more than happy. I'm good on taking that.
I would rather give that time to younger players who can use that experience to get better. I really would.
You're giving them to younger players who are going to learn what it's like to lose.
But I just want
until they get better and win.
I want you guys to catch on this real quick, though. This is the difference between a Yankees fan and a Mets fan.
I want to win, and Mets fan,
but you're not going to win this year, so I hope you accept that.
Now. A Yankees fan expects to win now, while a Mets fan is hoping that the organization does anything possible to start building a team that can win. That's the difference. Yankees win now. That's what the Yankees want. That's what the Yankees fans want. Mets fans hope that this team makes moves to build something that's actually a good team down the line. Every Met fan in this world knows that the New York Mets, with Dickey, without Dickey, are A, not a playoff team, and B, lucky if they hit the 500 mark.
Then why show up? Why buy merchandise? Why do anything? If you know your team has no chance of winning and the season is still 2 months away from starting, why would you even bother? Why would you care?
Because fan is short for fanatic. It's that simple. You go buy your team stuff because you love your team.
No, you root for a team because you want them to win.
No, you root for a team because you love the team.
You love them when they lose. You love the Mets when they lose. No, nobody likes losing.
The Mets haven't won jack squat
Nobody
in
enjoys
30
losing.
years.
Nobody has fun when they lose. Nobody enjoys going to a bowl game and going, yeah, we lost, but yeah, man, that was awesome. No.
No, nobody does, but the Mets haven't won crap in 30 years. They still got their fans, don't they?
I'm just saying, this trade was not a good trade for the Mets.
And that's your opinion. Most Mets fans actually really like this trade because they know Dickey isn't going to do squat for them this year. Big whoop if he wins 20 games. What's that mean? Nothing. You're not going to the playoffs. Your knuckleballer at 40 years old almost is not bringing you to the playoffs. He's not getting you a World Series. He's not getting you a pennant. He's not getting you any of that. So your best hope is simply the fact that you hope that they can bring in pieces to start building a championship team around. They signed David Wright. That was the first good thing they did.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just can't help but laugh at that, man.
But you're not a Met fan, so you don't get it.
I don't get losing. You're absolutely right.
Have you been a Knicks fan your whole life?
Yes.
What the hell have the Knicks done for you? The last time they won a championship, you were still 10 years before being born.
Yeah, but I watched them in the finals in '94. I watched them, but I watched them at least attempt to go out and put a winning product on the floor.
The Mets fell short at the NLCS.
There was at no point
ago.
in the time did I look at the Knicks and say, well, they were just setting themselves up to fail.
Well, what was
miserably.
the crap they gave you from 2000 to 2006?
Stephon Marbury, Isaiah Thomas.
Crap.
Really?
Eddie Curry?
Eddie Curry didn't set you up for failure, really?
They tried. They tried to bring in talent. They tried to sign guys. It didn't work.
And that's what the Mets are doing. They're trying to bring in young guys and build a team.
No, the Knicks didn't bring in young guys. They brought in guys. They signed
which is why they set themselves up for failure.
What I'm saying, though, is the Mets aren't even signing free agents. They're not signing talent.
Because they don't want retreads.
They don't want anything. They don't want to win.
No,
apparently.
they want homegrown talent that
They're
is
not-
going to come up. They want young players that they can build a franchise around. And I hate to break it
And
to
then,
you.
oh, by the way, talking about Yankee points, we got plenty of guys who come up through our farm system. Lots of them.
How's Eduardo Nunez doing?
Well, listen, everybody knows I'm not a fan of Nunez, but Cano's a homegrown product.
Who may leave after next year?
He's not leaving. Listen, the Yankees backed the money truck up. We're gonna have like I've explained to you guys numerous times. The Yankees have so many one-year deals this year that there's so much money coming off the books. You're gonna have plenty of money to sign Cano.
And you still have a bunch of 35-year-olds you're going to have to deal with for the next 3 years.
Not really.
Teixeira, A-Rod.
Sure, it's not 35 yet. But
No, but he will be in a couple years. And you'll still
I'll be
still have
35
him.
in a couple years too.
Okay. You're
That's
not
not-
making $20 million at the time.
He's still,
He
but
wishes.
listen, and for his defensive first base, you're not going to find a better defensive first baseman out there than Teixeira. So I take his bat, and I'll take the declining numbers on his swing a little bit to get what I get at first base. But you got Cano, you got Gardner. We have young pieces that we bring up all the time, and we use.
You could use a couple of them this year.
We'll be just fine. We'll be okay. The Mets, you guys just keep building for the future.
That's what they got to do. They don't have anything on that roster, and they're not going to go
And if the Yankees were
put
smart,
together a team
they
that
would
wins anything.
If the Yankees were smart, they would do the same thing with Curtis Granderson. I hate to break it to you. Because you guys are...
Curtis Granderson, like I've already kind of tried to tell you guys, he's more than likely going to be traded by midseason.
Oh, that's good. Because, I'm sorry, you guys are not even in the top 3 in the American League anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Listen, I'll still take a playoff berth and a chance at a World Series over already looking at my season and saying we're not going to be anywhere. Any day of the week.
That is
So-
the life of a Mets fan.
You know what I mean? I don't want to look
but
for 7
mean,
years
that's-
down the road. I want to win now.
I will say that is the life of a Mets fan.
I'm fortunate enough to see
haven't approached
5
the
World
Mets
Series
season.
championships. I'm fortunate enough to see him go, 7 times? Like I said, I've been fortunate enough as a fan of the teams I've been a fan of. For the most part. Without the Knicks winning a championship, I've only seen the Rangers win one. Other than that, I've seen my Giants win a couple. I've seen my Yankees win a bunch. I've seen Alabama win a bunch. I've seen all my teams play. So I can't complain as a sports fan, but every year, I want to win. I want my team to have a chance. I want to feel like they could be at the top of the mountain.
Well, everybody wants that. But sometimes you have to accept the fact of the matter is your team isn't that team. And that's what it is to be a Mets fan. Your team is not that team. They don't have the resources to be that team right now. That's all. I think that's the main point trying to be made right now. They don't have what they need to even be that team. You have to look at the Mets. If you're a Mets fan, you look at them and you say, please just make smart decisions. Turn yourselves into a good franchise. Turn yourself into a franchise that is there every year competing.
And trading a Cy Young winner who makes
you
less,
say it like the
who
guy's
makes less than
22
Joe
years
Blanton,
old.
who makes less than most anybody in the league. Even if you didn't
But
trade
you
him and
make it
kept him
sound
for
like
this year,
guy is Steven Strasburg and he's 23, dude. He's almost 40.
He's a
He is
knuckleballer.
not bringing us to a
And
World
you've
Series.
made the case that this is a 38-year-old before, so it's nice to see you kind of, go back on that a little bit.
not
Bear.
going back.
You
but
are,
for the
because
next
you
2
made
to
the
3
case that he was
years-
a 38-year-old.
For the next 2 to 3 years, he is going to win you probably anywhere between no less than 14 and probably no more than 18. I'm not going to say he's going to have another 20-win year. I'm not going to sit here and call him a Cy Young winner next year. But I can look at it and say he is going to be a better than average, serviceable pitcher because he does throw a different ball than everybody else, and it's a little harder to hit. So he'll win you some games.
Ain't getting you anywhere, though.
But he's cheap. He's not. It's not like you're spending $20 million a year on the guy.
But you're still,
And
but
you
you're
know it's
talking
cheaper
about
than that,
keeping
though,
a guy
right?
on a team that is not going somewhere. So why not trade him and get value for him?
Why not just keep him and try and
Because
build
he's a
with
waste
him?
of roster space.
Right.
He's not doing anything for you.
Guy who brings the Mets a Cy Young is a wasted roster space. All right, I'm good on this conversation,
going
guys. I'm
into
good.
this year, he will be.
I'm good.
A wasted roster space.
Anytime you call a Cy Young winner a wasted roster space, I'm good with the conversation. We could just move on to something else.
Going into this year, he is.
Okay. I'm good. I don't need to say anything else. I'm good. I can't. I'm not even going to attempt to argue with that. I'm not even going to do it.
You know, I just want to say only 3 other Cy Young Award winners were traded the year after they won. I believe it was David Cone, Roger Clemens, and Pedro Martinez. And I'm trying to look it up right now because I do believe if you look at what the returns were for those guys, I know the Royals got nothing from the Toronto Blue Jays. Or, excuse me, the Blue Jays got nothing from the Royals when they traded Cone. I believe the Expos got Tony Armas Jr. when they traded Pedro Martinez. Roger Clemens was traded for David Wells. Can you honestly tell me the Mets didn't get more than all those trades combined?
You don't know. You're getting a couple of minor leaguers that you're hoping
Which is basically what the rest of them were traded from.
Disagrees with you.
No. Joey Balls and that other kid that...
And Erich disagree. But all I'm trying to say to you is just look at it like this. As Joey points out, did you look at Oakland last year or Baltimore and think either one of those 2 teams were going to do anything? Either one of them.
And Oakland's rise was fueled by trades of Trevor Cahill and Gio Gonzalez for 3 or 4 contracts.
You
for 3 or
guys
4
aren't
prospects.
Oakland. You guys aren't Moneyball. You guys are the...
But I'm asking you a serious question. Did you look at either one of those 2 teams and think they were going to do anything this year?
No.
So what's to say that you look at this Mets team and say you just don't know?
Right.
They're trying to build a team for the future.
You guys have fun with the future. I'm going to live in the now.